Welcome to Telecom in 10, where we explore the quality connections between our cutting-edge technology, unparalleled service, reliable products, and you, our customer and community, as we continue to transform telecom here at Northland Communications.
What it is at its core is essentially providing customers who are using Teams for the basic benefits like the collaboration tools and the internal chat, and allowing those users to enable the phone system license within Microsoft Teams so that they can make and receive calls out to the PSTN or the public switch telephone network. And what that does is enables businesses and customers who use Teams on a day-to-day basis basically plug in a SIP trunk to their Microsoft Teams, and the Teams interface becomes their phone system at that point.
Some customers have on-premise SBC, some customers have in the cloud. Third-party ISPs such as us have ours in the cloud where you don't have your own SBC, we're your SBC.
Within our core network, we had a certified SBC.
Yep.
So rather than put that responsibility on the customer to take ownership of the capital expense of the SBC, number one, the configuration of it, and the deployment of it, let's leverage what we already have ownership of in our core network and essentially host the Teams direct routing for the customer. So we're bundling that SBC certification with a SIP trunk and saying, here is a nice, really easy to understand per path voice product that you can much more easily connect into your Teams interface so that your Teams is your soft client, and we take on the responsibility of porting all the phone numbers, getting the connection set up for you, and your responsibility stays on the Teams side.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because single pane of glass, you're already using Teams, you don't have to leave that application to go to another soft phone provider. Everything just stays in Teams, so all your collaboration works together.
Yeah, and another good point around that, and this is kind of the benefit of the way that we decided to design the product, is Teams users have the option when they want to enable the phone system license within Teams to actually utilize Microsoft for what they call a calling plan. The difference between the Microsoft calling plan and our direct routing product, because of the way that we designed it, is that every end user within your business doesn't necessarily need their own dedicated direct routing path.
Right.
So in the calling plan environment, if you have 100 people in your business, every one of those 100 people need to be designated a dedicated calling plan package through Microsoft. Our service, because it is hosted, is what we call dynamic. So if you have 100 people in your business and you may only have, let's say, 35 simultaneous calls going on at your high peak of your call volumes, you only need to purchase 35 direct routing paths through Northland versus having to purchase 100 calling plans. So there can be, in certain scenarios, a significant cost savings to your business also for using direct routing versus the Microsoft calling plan. So as businesses start to get their feet wet within the Teams environment, they're using it for their day-to-day collaboration interactions, and by using an organization like Northland for the direct routing piece, it only enhances that end user usability piece while still using a company who is actually a voice carrier to continue to provide you your voice.
Yep.
We obviously focus our business a lot on the level of service that we provide our customers. Being a 24/7 support organization, having a direct line into our support teams, requirements on ticket response times. So that is another benefit versus using Microsoft directly for the calling plan.
Customers already have a great relationship with Northland. They're used to talking to us. They know that we pick up the phone when they call, as opposed to getting put into a queue for minutes or an hour sometimes. Plus, a lot of our customers are local, and we're a local company, so that helps foster that relationship.
Yeah, and just like any other traditional SIP service or cloud-based service, it's an extremely scalable product. So you can have users spread across multiple locations. You are able to call and add or decrease the number of voice channels that you have into your Teams tenant. being able to have that cohesive feel across multiple locations, being able to increase or decrease your service volume with us at any time. And there's no limit to, or there's no threshold to the number. It's completely dependent on your business, and our customer experience team and our sales team have the ability to walk you through your needs and help you determine what the right fit there is.
Yeah. We suggest that you create a spreadsheet, have all your users in a spreadsheet, have all their phone numbers and all the licenses that are applied to them. After that, you want to create a subdomain that points back to our root domain. You'll go through a little verification process with us. You're going through the verification process when you're adding a domain to your Teams environment. You'll get to a page and they'll actually give you a number and an entry for a DNS record. The DNS record will be applied to our DNS records at northland.net, and you'll give us that information. We put it in. Once we put it in and apply it, when you click next, it'll check that verification, and then you'll be able to move on. Without that, you won't be able to move on. And it's really a short process, 5-15 minutes. It's scheduled so that we make sure that we're both available for it.
It's kind of like when you go to log into an app and it's like, hey, we're going to text you this number to make sure that you're allowed to be doing this and that it's really you. It's kind of the same thing,
Yeah, exactly.
but it requires us and the customer to make that
like
happen.
MFA or two-factor authentication, same type of thing. As you're adding a domain to your Microsoft Teams environment, it'll let you go to the next step and you can start applying licenses and configuring your users. So we really suggest that if you're going to get into this, that you're very proficient in PowerShell and very proficient in Teams. Without that knowledge base and expertise, you will need help from a third-party vendor to do this. What's different from a calling plan is when you purchase a calling plan through Microsoft Teams, the numbers are already in the system and you connect them to the users using that. If you don't have a calling plan, you're going direct routing, then you have to use PowerShell in order to do those commands. So once you have all the PowerShell commands in there to allocate the services to your users, the next thing you'll do is we will help you provision it. So in our SBC, we'll have the numbers applied to the users, applied to the domain, and we may give you a couple test numbers. And the test numbers are for you to make sure that everything's working correctly, and also to test things like 911 emergency. You have things like Raybon's law that you want to make sure that you're in compliance with. And once that's all set, we'll do a cutover and make sure that all the numbers are ported or new numbers are applied, so that way you can continue with the service.
Well, thank you for walking us through that, because I know you're more in the weeds with the customers than I am at this point.
Yep.
So yeah, as far as contacting Northland to get more information about Microsoft Teams Direct Routing, anyone in our sales team or anyone in our sales development team will be able to help answer questions or direct you to the right people within our organization that can.